Hello everyone, I'm Dan Philgreen, and this is Shell Point Today for Wednesday, February 12th. On today's show, we hear about how older adults struggle with addiction and what we can do to help. We'll also visit Ruth Deuber's kitchen and get a What's Cooking recipe for sweet potato Vichyssoise. But first, let's get a few quick updates from Kara Minui at the news desk. Kara.
Thank you very much, Dan. Sweet potato soup is one thing, but this morning's event is extra sweet because it involves cupcakes. Here's the game. We ask a trivia question, and then, rather than say the answer out loud, you have to illustrate it using icing on a cupcake. Even if you only come to watch, you'll still be rewarded with tasty cupcakes at the end. The Cupcake Wars, Shell Point style, happens this morning at 10:45 a.m. in the Social Center on the island, and all are welcome. And later today, we get to hear from Dr. David Helligman. This orthopedic surgeon can talk about everything from osteoporosis to joint replacement. Bring your questions to this Health Connection event happening this afternoon at 3:15 p.m. in the Social Center on the island. Coming up next week, we have a special event open to the public dealing with the issue of addiction in older adults and featuring nationally known author Carol Colleran. Now, you may be thinking that Shell Point is an odd place to host such an event since we don't even serve alcohol in our restaurants. But Carol says that developing a drinking habit in secret can be far more dangerous than drinking in public. And in fact, Shell Point hosts its own Alcoholics Anonymous meeting every Thursday afternoon. Come hear this and many other insights at the special Nighttime Academy event, Older Adults and Addiction, happening on Tuesday, February 18th at 7 p.m. in the church auditorium. Terry Koloth has this preview.
Hello, I'm here with Carol Colleran, and she is going to be a special lecturer in the Academy this semester, and we're talking about aging and addiction. Thank you so much for joining me, Carol.
Thank you so much for having me.
What a topic that we're going to be discussing here. It's a current topic, but it's an old problem, isn't it?
It's an old problem. It's a hidden problem. It has actually reached what I would say would be epidemic proportions. The average general population, they estimate that maybe 10% have a problem with alcohol or drugs. In the older adult population, in the population of 60 plus, 17%. At least.
That's a problem. 17% have a problem. Now, it comes to mind there are a number of things to be addicted to in this realm. Alcohol, illegal drugs, and legal drugs.
Legal drugs are biggie, absolute biggie. Prescription drug addiction in older adults. There are some that I call accidental addicts because they did not go to get their drug to get high. Right. But they became addicted, and that prescription kept getting refilled and refilled, and then they became very good at getting their drugs as well. Don't ever underestimate an older adult. Every bit as clever as a young person in getting their drug.
Well, Carol, there must be some reasons why this is particularly a problem for the older adults.
I think there are a lot of reasons, not the least of which is that loss of sense of purpose. So many older adult patients that have come to me have said, I lost my sense of purpose. Nobody asked me questions anymore.
There are so many ways to fill that in your older years.
Oh, absolutely.
We offer volunteer opportunities here, the arts, technology.
I think you have an amazing program here, and I only now found out that you do not have alcohol in your public places. And I really commend you for that because there's a hotbed of problems in retirement in terms of the happy hour and what goes on with that. And actually in working with older adults and then sending them back home, it's a problem if you have a place that continues to have happy hour and such. However, having said I commend you for what you have here, you also need to look at, and I think part of what I will get into in my talk is, you also need to be aware of what to look for.
Not only as a staff, but as friends and neighbors, family, caring people, caring about each other. Is there a problem here?
Absolutely. And the thing is, I really believe that if you're not trained to look for it, you're not going to find it.
And you've told me some very interesting buzzwords or phrases. Share some of those with us.
Well, I think what I shared with you was wrong thinking blocks right action. And I think of families so often, particularly the adult children of an older adult. They think of it as being, gee, I can't take away my dad or my mom's last pleasure. And we need to understand that it is not a pleasure to be steeped in the disease of alcoholism, whether it's alcohol, whether it's prescription drugs, or whether it's the illicit drugs.
Well, I first have to say how grateful we are to partner with Hazelden.
Thank you.
Hazelden is an amazing organization, and we'll hear more about that at our event. But you are their speaker this year in their speaker series, and it's the first time we've had you in Lee County. Yep. And so we're delighted to be the host for this program. So we're going to call it Older Adults and Addiction. We have our specialist here, Carol Colleran, and you've also written a book, Aging and Addiction, Helping Older Adults Overcome Alcohol and Medication Dependence. Now that's going to be available for sale at our program, so we're really glad to offer that. So after people have heard you, I know they're going to want to hear a little bit more. And a book gives us time to really sit back and think about what we're reading. The day is Tuesday, February 18th. The place is the Village Church Auditorium. The time is 7 to 8:30 for the lecture, but come a little early at 6:45 for a meet and greet and to take a good look at Aging and Addiction, Carol Colleran's book. We hope to see you there.
And now Dan is here with a class in French pronunciation. Dan?
That's right, Kara. Today's word is Vichyssoise, Vichyssoise, which is actually just a fancy French word for cold potato soup. But Ruth Deuber is making the dish her own by making it out of sweet potatoes. Let's learn how in this episode of What's Cooking.
Hello, I'm Ruth Deuber, and this is What's Cooking at Shell Point. I have a little different focus on the cooking that I'm going to be doing in the next couple shows. You know I'm alone now, and so cooking your dinners particularly, I have no problem with breakfast and lunch, but when it comes to dinner, it's a little tougher to do. So I've been watching for recipes that can be for either two or for one, and I found a book, Healthy Cooking for Two or Just You is what it says. And I have always loved Vichyssoise. Potato leek soup, and it's in my cookbook, and I've always loved to make it. And I found a recipe for a sweet potato Vichyssoise. And you all know about sweet potatoes and all the vitamins that they have in them. They're so good for you. So I thought, okay, I'll try it. And it turned out pretty good. And I have a leek. Here it calls for one. And I personally use leeks a lot instead of onions. I like the flavor. It's a little sweeter even than the sweet onions. So I thought I'd show you that. And as you know, leeks tend to have a lot of dirt in them. But lately I've found, just like this one, it really doesn't have any dirt. If it does, and if you worry about it, you can run it under cold water. So you want to cut this in half. You see I cut the root off. And we're going to cut it in small pieces. And I did cut it in half so it's like half moons. That way it'll cook a little bit faster. And we'll go up into the green just a little bit. That'll be fine. And I left the sweet potato whole because that's about the size of the potato you want. I think I weighed it at the store, and I think it's about 8 ounces, a half a pound. And so we're going to slice that. And I did get it peeled, and I've had it in water so it didn't turn dark on me. So. Okay. Alrighty. Now we're going to get about, a half a tablespoon or more of butter. And it's just enough really to get the leeks started. And we'll turn the heat up on that. Now the other thing that goes with this is chicken broth, and it calls for 2 cups, but a can is about the right amount for it. So and we just want to cook these until they're softened. We don't want to brown them. Okay, this is just about what we want. It is getting softer. And that's what we want. We don't want to brown them. If they get too brown, it gives it almost a bitter taste. Now it's time for a little seasoning. Calls for ground white pepper. Just to your taste. And then the salt. And it calls for nutmeg. I'm going to put just a little in right now. And then when it's finished, I'll be adding more. Now when I make my Vichyssoise with the regular white potatoes, I add just a sprinkle of garlic salt. And the last time I tried this, it was pretty good, but it certainly is, you know, just if you really want to. It's just a dash. And the other thing is celery salt. But you don't have to add these 2 items. The recipe didn't call for it. This is just my taste. Okay. Now we're going to stir that up, and we'll turn the burner up to high until it comes to a boil. And then we'll turn it down and let it simmer. And it takes about 30 minutes for it to get the potatoes soft. Because of time, I've already got a batch here. Now you can leave it in the pan and use one of the blenders that you're just using in the pot, or you can do it in a blender like this. It looks pretty. It smells good too. Now I'm going to pour out just a little bit. This is another thing that I've been trying to do to make my meals more interesting. I use the dishes other than everyday dishes. I just, you know, decide to use some of the dishes that I have, that I use for company. Now you can eat this either hot or cold. I tend to like a little bit of heat, so I could put it in the microwave, or we can eat it cool. This nutmeg grater belonged to my grandmother, and I still like to use it. So we just put a little bit of ground nutmeg on the top. Oh, it always smells so good. There. Okay, this is something new and something different, but I hope you'll try it. I like it. very smooth, velvety taste. I'll put it up on the website if you'd like to try it yourself. Bye-bye.
Coming up, we are covering all of Wednesday's happenings. Then stay tuned for your Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections.
Welcome to the Happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Bev Chandley, and this is Brace Clark, and we're going to go over today's activities for you here at Shell Point. We're going to start out this morning at 7:45 with the men's Bible study. They'll be in the Osprey Room on the island. Then at 8 o'clock, the men's match play doubles tennis will be down at the Woodlands tennis courts. 8:45 is the time that Lilly and Company Jewelers will be at the Resident Activity Center for their weekly jewelry service. Our Jurassic Travel will be here to help you with your individual travel needs in the egret room at 9 o'clock. Also at 9 o'clock, we have the watercolor group with Phil Hilton. That'll be in the art studio down in the tunnel. At 9:15, we have the scrapbooking group in the tarpon room. At 10 o'clock, the ladies' Bible study will be in the Osprey Room on the island. Also at 10 o'clock, we have the men's match play doubles tennis at the Woodlands tennis courts. At 10:15, the model yachts will be sailing down at the Woodland Commons Lakes. Now 10:45, we have Cupcake Wars, Shell Point style. That'll be in the Social Center on the island. Should be a lot of fun. Check that out. At 11:30, we have a Health Connections class, Agility and Flexibility in the Health Club on the island, and that is currently full. Now let's check in with Brace and see what he's got for your afternoon lineup.
Well, Bev, this afternoon we'll start at 1 o'clock with chess in the library. At 1:15, Health Connections will have a It's All About You session in the Manatee Room. Sign-ups are required there. From 1:30 to 3:30, the model train room will be open on the island. At 1:45, Health Connections Balance and Mobility Training Level 1 will be in the Health Club. At 2:30, Jazz and Stuff at the Grand Cypress Room in the Woodlands. At 2:45, Healing Journey will take place in the chapel at the Village Church. 3 o'clock, Bible study in the community room in the King's Crown. At 3 o'clock, Health Connections Pilates Stretch in the Health Club. Also at 3 o'clock, the Memory Care Group will meet in the 3rd floor of the craft room at the King's Crown. Sign up is required. At 3:15, Health Connections Osteoporosis to Joint Replacement at the Social Center. Sign up is required. At 4:30, there will be indoor bocce at the Health Club on the island. And at 5:45, the church choir will have a rehearsal in the Village Church. At 7:15, prayer and praise also at the community church on the island. That's it for today's lineup. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Terry Koleth with your Academy information for Wednesday. At 9 o'clock, Digital Camera Prep School continues in the Sable Room at the Woodlands. And at 9:15, Understanding Your Computer will begin in the Computer Teaching Center on the island, and sign-up is required. At 1 o'clock, our live figure drawing course continues in the Sable Room at the Woodlands. And also at 1 o'clock, our intermediate bridge class continues in the game room of the Woodlands. At 1:45, we have Internet Prep School.
Menus for Wednesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is barbecue pork spare ribs with baked beans and collard greens. The dinner special is the pasta buffet for $12.95, and the soup of the day is tortellini and sausage. In the Island Cafe for lunch, enjoy taco salad for $7.25. The dinner special is fried shrimp for $8.25. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are chicken saltimbocca for $13.95 or stuffed shells, also for $13.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, I'm Randy Woods, and it is my privilege to serve as the Minister of Worship and Music at the Village Church. In our church and in this community, we regularly enjoy great musical programs and inspirational concerts. Many of them are planned and scheduled appropriately. However, there's always the impromptu, the surprise opportunity that comes our way, a serendipity from the Lord. Such is the case this week as we have the opportunity to welcome gospel singer Burt Kettinger to our worship service on Sunday morning. Burt Kettinger is the gospel voice of the radio program entitled Moody Presents. Burt is also the featured artist of Moody Radio's program Songs in the Night. I'm pleased to tell you that Burt will be our special guest soloist at the Village Church on Sunday, February 16th during the 10:15 a.m. worship service. Burt Kettinger's rich bass baritone voice has been a source of much comfort and encouragement for many years, and his music is very inspirational. Burt has a master's degree in vocal performance from the American Conservatory of Music in Chicago. He is also an ordained minister with the Evangelical Free Church of America. Burt has been traveling full-time since summer of 1974. Much of his work in early years was in affiliation with the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago, thanks to the Moody Radio Broadcasting Network, as well as several other radio networks. His musical ministry has traveled much further than he has personally gone. Again, it will be our privilege to welcome Burt Kettinger to our worship service this Sunday, February 16th at the Village Church. I invite you to join us at 10:15 on Sunday morning as we celebrate God's goodness and enjoy the gospel music ministry of Burt Kettinger.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in tomorrow as Herb Sklar teaches us how to draw using the right side of our brains.
We'll also meet Jim and Glenna Irwin, a delightful Valentine's romance, all centered around music.
Until then, this is Shell Point Today for Wednesday, February 12th. I'm Kara Minowie.
And I'm Dan Filgreen. From all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.